Part 1. You'll never master life if you can't master yourself. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything: money, power, fame, yet inside they are restless, anxious, even miserable? On the other hand, there are those who appear to have little, yet they radiate peace, confidence, and direction. What is the difference? The difference is self-mastery. The truth is brutal but liberating. You will never master life until you master yourself. You can't control the weather, the economy, or the behavior of other people, but you can control your own mind, your own emotions, and your own actions. And if you fail to do that, nothing else you achieve will ever feel complete. The illusion of control. Most people live under the illusion that they are in control of their lives. They think that if they can manage their jobs, keep their schedules, pay their bills, and maybe tell other people what to do, they are in control. But let me ask you, what happens when anger takes over and you say something you regret? What happens when laziness whispers in your ear and you skip the work you promised yourself to do? What happens when fear grips you so tightly that you don't even start? At that moment, all the external control you thought you had disappears. You realize that you are not in charge of your life at all. You are a slave to your emotions and impulses. A man can conquer nations, but if he cannot conquer his own temper, he remains a prisoner. A woman can build an empire, but if she cannot master her own mind, she is still bankrupt inside. This is why philosophers, warriors, and sages throughout history emphasized self-mastery above all else. Why mastery of self comes first. Life is chaos. You cannot predict the storms that will come. People will betray you, markets will collapse, opportunities will vanish, accidents will happen. But in all this chaos, there is one constant: you. If you master your thoughts, you master your focus. If you master your focus, you master your actions. If you master your actions, you master your results. And if you master your results consistently, you begin to master your life. It all begins with the inner world. Without mastering yourself, your victories will always be fragile. The enemy within, the greatest enemy you will ever face, is not outside of you, it is inside of you. The voice that tells you, you're not good enough. The whisper that says, just relax, do it tomorrow. The impulse that makes you lash out at the people you love. The craving that drags you back into bad habits. These are your real enemies. They are subtle, silent, and often invisible. But they are stronger than any competitor, harsher than any critic, and more destructive than any external challenge. Every time you resist these forces, you are practicing self-mastery. Every time you give in, you lose ground in the battle for your own life. Discipline is freedom. Most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But that kind of freedom often leads to slavery, to addiction, regret, and chaos. Real freedom comes from discipline. Real freedom is when you have trained yourself so deeply that you can do what you must, even when you don't feel like it. Think of an athlete who wakes up before dawn, trains for hours, eats clean, and refuses the easy path. To the outside world, it looks like he is restricting himself. But when the competition comes, his body obeys him like a weapon. That is not restriction, that is freedom. Discipline is not chains. Discipline is wings. Emotions are servants, not masters. One of the keys to self-mastery is learning to handle emotions. Most people let emotions drive the car of their life. Happiness makes them accelerate, sadness makes them stop, and anger makes them crash. But emotions are not supposed to be the driver. They are passengers. They can speak, but they should not command. Fear can warn you, but it should not control you. Anger can energize you, but it should not consume you. Sadness can humble you, but it should not drown you. The moment you take the wheel back from your emotions, you reclaim your life. The wisdom of the Stoics. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this truth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, ruled the most powerful empire on earth. Yet he wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Even with armies at his command, he knew that the real battlefield was within. He knew that a man who cannot govern his own thoughts will never truly rule anything. Epictetus, a slave-turned-philosopher, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. Even as a slave, he was freer than many kings, because he had mastered his mind. The ripple effect of self-mastery: when you master yourself, it doesn't just change you, it changes everything around you. In relationships, you stop reacting with anger or insecurity. You start responding with wisdom and patience. In work, you stop procrastinating and start producing with consistency. In health, you stop chasing comfort and start respecting your body as the temple of your potential. In purpose, you stop scattering your energy and start focusing on what truly matters. Self-mastery is not one skill, it is the foundation of every skill. Without it, your success will always be shaky. With it, you can stand firm even in the storm. The two warriors: imagine two warriors training in the same village. Both are strong, both are skilled, both want to be the best. One spends all his time competing with others, bragging about his victories, obsessed with conquering the world. But he never conquers himself. His pride grows, his temper explodes, and eventually, he makes enemies who bring about his downfall. The other warrior spends less time competing with others and more time competing with himself. He rises before dawn, disciplines his body, sharpens his mind, and controls his temper. Years later, when chaos strikes, he remains calm. His people trust him, because he is unshaken by fear, greed, or rage. The first warrior conquered others. The second warrior conquered himself. Only one of them truly mastered life, building the foundation. So how do you begin mastering yourself? It starts with awareness. You cannot control what you do not see. Notice the moments when emotions hijack you. Notice the habits that drag you down. Notice the excuses that steal your potential. Awareness is the first step. The second is discipline, building small habits that align with the person you want to be. Wake up earlier than your comfort zone. Push your body a little harder. Resist that small temptation. Control one reaction at a time. With every small victory, your self-mastery grows. And soon, those small victories build into a fortress of inner strength. Closing part 1 here as the reality. Life will never bend to your will if you cannot bend yourself to discipline. The world will never respect you if you cannot respect yourself. You want to master life? First, master your mind. You want to control outcomes? First, control your emotions. You want to achieve greatness? First, achieve victory over yourself. Because the journey is not about conquering the world. The journey is about conquering yourself. Part 2. How to build self-mastery step by step. In part 1, we uncovered why self-mastery is the foundation of mastering life. We saw that without conquering yourself, every victory outside remains fragile. Now, in part 2, we go deeper. How do you actually master yourself? What are the practical steps, the mindsets, the habits, and the disciplines that transform you from a slave of impulse to the master of your destiny? This is where theory meets practice. Step 1. Awareness. See the invisible chains. The first step towards self-mastery is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Most people are trapped in invisible chains of habits, emotions, and thoughts they don't even notice. They repeat patterns day after day, wondering why nothing changes. Think of someone who gets angry easily. They shout, they slam doors, they damage relationships, and afterward, they say, "That's just how I am." But is that really who they are? Or is it just an untrained reaction, a chain they've never broken? Awareness is like turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly, you see the obstacles. Suddenly, you notice the clutter. And once you see, you can choose. Start by observing yourself. Journal your thoughts. Notice your triggers. Pay attention to the excuses you make. Self-awareness is the mirror that shows you who you really are, not who you pretend to be. Step 2. Discipline. Small wins build big power. Once you see the chains, the next step is discipline. And discipline is built not by grand gestures, but by small, consistent victories. Wake up 10 minutes earlier than usual. Resist the urge to check your phone the moment you open your eyes. Choose water over soda. Do one extra push-up when you feel tired. Speak calmly when you feel like shouting. Each of these may seem small, but they are bricks. And brick by brick, you are building a fortress of self-mastery. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The less you use it, the weaker it becomes. That is why the greatest victories often happen in the smallest moments when no one is watching. When it doesn't look important. When it is just you and your decision. Step 3. Control your environment. Self-mastery is not just about inner willpower, it is also about shaping the environment around you. Why? Because your environment either strengthens or weakens your discipline. If your house is filled with junk food, your willpower will constantly be tested. If your room is cluttered, your mind will reflect that chaos. If your friends are negative, your thoughts will be dragged down. A wise person doesn't just fight temptation, they remove it. They create an environment that makes discipline easier, not harder. If you want to eat healthy, stock your kitchen with healthy food. If you want to read more, put books where you can see them. If you want to focus, turn off notifications, clean your desk, and silence distractions. You are not just a product of willpower, you are a product of design. Design your environment for the person you want to become. Step 4. Master your emotions. Emotions are powerful. They can fuel you or they can destroy you. Self-mastery means learning how to use emotions as tools, not letting them use you. Think of anger. In its raw form, anger can lead to destruction. But when mastered, anger becomes energy. It becomes fuel for justice, for standing up for what's right, for pushing harder when the world tells you no. Think of fear. In its raw form, fear paralyzes. But when mastered, fear becomes caution. It protects you from reckless mistakes while still allowing you to move forward. Think of sadness. In its raw form, sadness can drown you. But when mastered, it softens your heart, deepens your empathy, and connects you with others. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals. Self-mastery means listening to this signal, but making the decision yourself. Step 5. Develop mental toughness. Life is not easy. No matter how disciplined you are, storms will come. You will face rejection, betrayal, loss, failure, and pain. Self-mastery is not about avoiding storms, it is about becoming unshakable within them. Mental toughness means training your mind to endure discomfort, to stand firm when others collapse, to keep moving forward when it feels impossible. One way to build mental toughness is to deliberately put yourself in controlled discomfort. Wake up earlier than you want. Take cold showers. Push your workouts harder than your comfort zone. Practice silence when you want to react. Every time you endure discomfort, you train yourself for the bigger storms of life. You learn that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. Step 6. The power of focus. In a world full of distractions, focus is self-mastery in action. Most people scatter their energy across dozens of meaningless activities, then wonder why they never move forward. Self-mastery means choosing focus. It means deciding what truly matters and giving it your energy, while cutting away the noise. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things that will change my life if I master them? What am I wasting energy on that does not serve me? Focus turns average people into masters. When you stop chasing everything, you finally start achieving something. Step 7. Align with a higher purpose. Self-mastery is not just about willpower. It is about meaning. Why do some people quit easily while others endure endless hardship? Because the second group is driven by purpose. When you have a why, you can endure anyhow. If your goal is shallow, discipline will crumble. If your purpose is deep, discipline will thrive. That is why soldiers endure suffering for their country. Why parents sacrifice for their children. Why visionaries dedicate their lives to ideas bigger than themselves. To master yourself, connect your actions to something greater. Ask, who am I becoming? Why does this matter beyond my comfort? What legacy am I building? Purpose is the fuel of self-mastery. Step 8. Practice reflection. Finally, self-mastery requires reflection. Every warrior sharpens his sword. Every master reviews his craft. If you never stop to reflect, you repeat the same mistakes. Take time daily or weekly to ask yourself, where did I lose control? Where did I stay strong? What can I do better tomorrow? Reflection transforms experience into wisdom. Without it, you are just repeating the same cycle blindly. With it, you grow consciously, step by step, into mastery. The journey is lifelong. Now here is the truth most people don't want to hear. You will never fully arrive. Self-mastery is not a finish line. It is a lifelong journey. Even masters slip. Even sages lose patience. Even warriors feel fear. The difference is, they notice, they recover, they return to discipline. Do not expect perfection. Expect progress. Do not aim to never fall. Aim to rise faster every time you fall. Story: The Monk and the King. There is an ancient story of a powerful king who ruled with might. He conquered lands, built palaces, and demanded respect. Yet inside, he was restless. His anger destroyed friendships. His greed brought enemies. His fears haunted him at night. One day, he visited a simple monk who lived in a quiet hut. The monk had no riches, no army, no palace. Yet he radiated peace. The king asked him, "How can you, with nothing, be so calm, while I, with everything, am tormented?" The monk smiled and said, "Because you have conquered the world, but I have conquered myself. You are a king of land. I am a king of my mind. Tell me, which kingdom is harder to rule?" The king was silent. For the first time, he understood. Closing part to self-mastery is not a mystery. It is a practice. Awareness of your chains, discipline in small victories, control of your environment, mastery over emotions, mental toughness in storms, focus on what matters, alignment with purpose, reflection to keep growing. This is the path, not easy, not glamorous, but absolutely essential. Because until you master yourself, life will always master you. But the moment you take control within, the world outside begins to shift. Part 3: Living a Life of Mastery. We've explored why self-mastery is the foundation of mastering life. We've uncovered the practical steps to build a discipline, awareness, purpose, and focus. Now in Part 3, we will step into the bigger vision. What does life look like once you begin to master yourself? How does it transform your relationships, your work, your legacy? And finally, how do you sustain mastery across a lifetime? The silent power of a mastered mind. When you meet a person who has mastered themselves, you feel it instantly. They do not need to shout. They do not need to prove anything. Their presence itself carries weight. Think about it. A person who has mastered their emotions will not be provoked by petty insults. A person who has mastered their discipline will not be shaken by temporary failure. A person who has mastered their purpose will not be distracted by every glittering temptation. This silent power is far greater than loud influence, because people trust those who are steady, and steadiness only comes from inner mastery. Self-mastery in relationships. If you cannot master yourself, you will struggle in relationships. Why? Because relationships are mirrors. They reflect your patience, your kindness, your temper, your insecurities. Without self-mastery, jealousy eats you alive. With self-mastery, you celebrate others' success. Without self-mastery, anger destroys connection. With self-mastery, you respond with calm strength. Without self-mastery, you demand love out of need. With self-mastery, you give love out of abundance. A mastered self creates mastered relationships, and those relationships become the foundation of a fulfilling life. Self-mastery in work and your career. Talent may get you started, but only self-mastery will keep you growing. The world is full of talented people who never reached their potential. Why? Because they lacked discipline. They lacked focus. They lacked mastery of themselves. But when you master yourself, you become unstoppable at work. You show up consistently. While others make excuses, you deliver results. While others procrastinate, you stay calm under pressure. While others collapse, over time, this separates you from the crowd. The world rewards not just talent, but reliability. And reliability comes from self-mastery. Self-mastery in leadership. True leadership is not about commanding others. It is about mastering yourself so deeply that others naturally want to follow you. History shows us this again and again. The greatest leaders were not those who shouted the loudest, but those who governed themselves. First, Gandhi mastered himself before leading a movement of millions. Nelson Mandela mastered his anger during 27 years in prison, then forgave his oppressors and built a nation. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet first ruled his own mind. Self-mastery gives you authority, not because you force it, but because you embody it. The eternal battle. Now let's be honest. Self-mastery is not something you achieve once and then forget. It is a daily battle. Every morning, you must win again. Every decision, you must choose again. Every temptation, you must resist again. The untrained mind hopes for an easy life. The mastered mind knows the battle is the life. This is why ancient warriors trained every day, even in peace. They knew that the enemy could appear at any time. Your enemy is not an army, it is your impulses, your fears, your laziness, and they attack every day. That is why you must train every day. The cost of no mastery. It's easy to think, I'll master myself later. But the cost of neglect is high. Without self-mastery, opportunities slip away. Without self-mastery, relationships break apart. Without self-mastery, health decays. Without self-mastery, life feels empty. No matter how much you achieve, ask yourself, how many people do you know who had talent, but wasted it? How many had love, but ruined it with anger or neglect? How many had success, but lost it to greed or lack of discipline? The cost of no mastery is not just failure, it is regret. And regret is the heaviest burden of all. The reward of mastery, on the other hand, what happens when you master yourself? You gain peace, because your mind is no longer your enemy. You gain freedom, because discipline has broken your chains. You gain respect, because others see your steadiness. You gain influence, because people follow those who govern themselves. You gain fulfillment, because you are living in alignment with your purpose. Self-mastery does not make life easier, it makes you stronger. And when you are stronger, life's challenges no longer control you, they refine you. Story: The Archer. There is a story from Zen tradition. A young man wanted to become the greatest archer in the land. He practiced day and night until he could hit any target. One day, he visited a wise master to show his skill. He shot arrow after arrow, never missing. The young man smiled, expecting praise. But the master shook his head. "You are skilled," the master said, "but you are not yet a master." Confused, the young man asked, "Why did I not hit every target?" The master replied, "You can hit the target outside, but can you hit the target inside? Can you remain calm when insulted? Can you stay disciplined when tired? Can you keep your focus when the world distracts you? Until you master the inner target, the outer target means nothing." The lesson was clear. Self-mastery is the true bullseye.